crazy history behind the very first amusement park rides. A little while ago, I did a story on the phrase close but no cigar. That led me to finding some very dangerous looking rides from the 18 and 1900s. And I felt like I definitely wanted to find just a little bit more information about it. So let's take a look at some of those early inventions. More often than not, back then, in order to see if something worked was to build it, test it out, and see what happens. Injuries and a lack of safety was kind of part of the experience. Lack of understanding of how construction works was one thing, but understanding what the impact to the human body would be was something else. For example, back then, pregnant women rode those roller coasters just like everyone else, seemingly having no issue with the concept. However, at the same time, they were unknowingly subjecting that unborn baby to unknown amounts of G-force, which could absolutely cause irreversible damage. So, some quick background. The amusement park rides that we know today were completely different back in the day. Things started way slower with things like pleasure parks. Quite literally, a park where you had different kinds of interactions. Different art pieces and performances by different groups displayed and held in one area. Circus-style performances with people entertaining with animals and with different kind of acrobats doing crazy stunts. Literal infant shows where they just had babies in cradles laying around for people to come and take a look. Also very random, strange shows where they had horses galloping up a very steep hill and then diving off. Sometimes with a person riding on the back. All the way to smooth and slow rides through places like Hellgate, where visitors can enjoy a very slow lake ride through what depicted hell. Sounds relaxing, right? As time progressed, people became bored of the usual shows and the slow-moving rails. So different parks started to compete by pushing the limit of the roller coasters and entertainment. Amongst the many things back then that were overlooked, perhaps the biggest thing was people's weight. A lot of the earlier roller coasters ran on rails and used gravity to push the cart. If the cart was slightly over or under a particular limit, it would sometimes tip over the rail on a turn, especially on rides like the flip-flap, where if the passenger's weight was slightly over the suggested limit, the people inside of that particular cart can experience up to 8 G's of force. And to put that into perspective, when a pilot ejects themselves from their jet and fly out to safety, in that experience, they're looking at about 15 G's of force. So to go to your amusement park and casually experience something relatively close to that is bananas, and with absolutely no warning. Neck and back injuries were very common, as well as people simply losing consciousness mid-ride. Let's look at some more specific examples. The escalator, literally just a staircase that moved upward slowly. People would stand on one end to get on and then hop off when the ride was over. Perhaps hard to believe now, but reports say that people back then were very excited to take this short ride. The parachute jump. Originally built for the 1939 World Fair, this ride eventually made its way to Steeplechase Park in 1941. Riders were strapped to a chair, lifted by cables,